Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another quick game of interplanetary I Spy going on here. Back to Apollo 8, 1968, and we have this image here. Now we're on the Flickr website. The link will be down below in the description, so you can download this or check out the other stuff on this site. This is Apollo image from Apollo 8, Hasselblad image from Film Magazine 12-D. Lunar orbit. Okay, right, and it's image 2183, and you're going to have to flip this around because it's sideways. Okay, now whether the actual craft was sideways when they took it, it may have spun round, or they had the camera round the wrong way. I'm not sure, probably the former. So there we go. All you have to do is turn it round, and there is a lot of stuff in this image. Let me show you it raw first before we do anything else. Okay, let's have a look at the raw clip. Well, it's not a clip, it's just been rotated and enlarged. Okay, so this may take a bit of loading up. I've enlarged that just for, well, when you enlarge the image, what it tends to do, it tends to get rid of the JPEG artifacts that are there, because obviously these are not original size, they've been downsized a bit, and you tend to get these blocks and lines going across. If you enlarge the image, that tends to smooth it out and get rid of a lot of the rubbish that's in there. Okay, and also I just think it better if you're working with a larger image, you can just see better and a bit more detail maybe. Now the main thing that I first started looking at was this bright object right in the middle. Now there's a lot of craters here, and this is probably hundreds of miles across here from left to right, and you can kind of work that out from the curvature of the moon. We know how big the moon is. You can work it out from that. So this is a very large area we're looking at here, and we're looking across at the moon. And these ones are the ones to go for, because if you're looking across the surface rather than straight down onto it, you can actually see structures sticking up, which is what we're after. We're not looking down. There's not a lot you can't really make stuff out when you're looking straight down, unless it's a really symmetrical looking structure, like a square or something. It really helps if you're looking across the moon's surface, and you can see stuff sticking up. Okay, and the first thing I looked at was this, and I thought, is that a crater? To me, actually, it looks like it's sticking up, instead of like some of the other craters where they're sort of like this one. This is a typical crater. This one here. I know what most of them look like this. Okay, there's another one here, another one here. But not all these craters are just normal craters. As I've said before, some of these craters have massive structures in them or next to them, usually in them for some reason. And I will demonstrate that now. Now what I did, let's get rid of that. I made an anomaly map, and I'll show you it in my image processing software here, because it's easier. All I've done is I've highlighted each interesting spot on the image, so I can go over them quickly and find them quickly. Okay, so all I've done is I've selected the area, and then I've added a load of contrast in there, just drawn a little box around it. Okay, which is really simple. Here's that supposed crater, which actually looks like a dome. I've done some nice enhancements of that. I will show you them in a minute. That was really cool, and you can see without really doing anything to that it's sticking up. It's not just sticking in or down. It's the old convex concave argument yet again, but when you're looking at across the surface, it's actually much easier to determine whether something's sticking up or not. Okay, which is why I choose to do that, because it's much more definite about what you're seeing. And the other thing I spotted in the edge of this very large crater here was a weird looking structure which looks to be, I'm not saying it is, but it looks like a spaceship. I don't know if you can see that. It's at an angle. It's a kind of all crumpled up and random stuff going on behind it, but you can see this pointed like structure here with what looks like a cockpit kind of shape to it. Now, is that a ship, or is it a mining machine that's going along the surface, collecting the dust off the surface and then spewing crap out the back? That's what it looks like. Now, it's either one or the other, or it's a natural structure that just happens to look like a spaceship, which I kind of doubt. Okay, right, so we'll come back to that in a minute. And if you look at a lot of these craters, there are interesting things sticking up, and some of these things aren't even craters. There's this weird one here, which kind of looks like a dome, but I really can't make out what's going on here. It kind of looks like it's sticking up. That may be an optical illusion, as this one may be. This looks like some very large thing sticking up out of this crater here. But there seems to be some kind of square and upright structure next to it as well, just here, okay? Now, these are only very quick contrast enhancements here, so you're not going to see a great deal until they're properly enhanced. So you've really got to add loads of contrast into these parts of the image to see anything properly, okay? There's also this over here. There's an upright structure. You can just about make out an upright structure, but that's a long way off, and it's quite dark and vague, as is this. This is a very, very bright structure. In fact, it's the brightest thing in the image when you look at the normal image. This one up here. I mean, this may well be a crater at a funny angle, a crater on top of a sort of mountainous area. Yeah. Okay, but I mean, this may well be natural, but it looks very odd because it's so much brighter than everything else. I'll show you that again in a minute in the natural image, in the raw image. There's also this, which is a bit vague, but there's something sticking up here that looks square, but that's also a long way off. The same problem with this. There's something sticking up here that looks like some kind of building structures, but may not be because it's too far away. We don't know. The problem is with these images, if you're looking at stuff near the back, you're not really going to get much joy out of it. You've really got to concentrate on the stuff nearer the bottom of the image, which is closer, usually, like near the center or bottom of the image. There's also something sticking up here, and there seems to be a hole here. And when you darken this up, you've got this circular hole that appears. So that was interesting. I'll come back to that. So I'll come back to all these at the end of the video and show you enhancements of all of them, the ones that are worth looking at. So we'll have quite a lot to look at the end of the video, okay? But for now, I'm going to concentrate on these two things here because they're the clearest and fairly close to us. So we're going to see more detail there. Whereas if you're looking at stuff back here, you're not going to see much. Okay, let's crack on with it because I'm waffling on a bit here. Let's go back to the folder and have a look at this rather strange crater here. Okay, here is the raw image, and you can even see in the raw image that it's sticking upwards. Okay, it has a dome-like shape to it here, and an interesting rim sort of shape to it here. Okay, so I'm just going to flick through. Now I've gone in there, I've selected it, I've really darkened it up and added lots of brightness as well, so it's contrast. Okay, lots of contrast, bit of a color filter on it, and you can see that's sticking up. Now this may well be going down into the ground, but this is sticking up. It may well be an optical illusion like some of these things are, but I don't think it is with this one because it's actually quite clear and quite close to us, so we can actually see it in quite good detail. There's another color filter on it. Okay, I'll get in a bit closer, and you can see these structures. Now a lot of these craters, so-called craters, obviously they're kind of circular. Some are actually hexagonal, some are octagonal, which is very strange. But normally they're sort of fairly flat, and then they just kind of slope downwards, and you have these lines going, these striations going down into the ground, okay? Which is normal, but on this one it kind of sticks up, so I don't see how that could be construed as a normal crater. And there's also this thing near it, which is pretty vague, I do agree, but there's something sticking up here which looks like a tower-like structure in this area here, okay? Let me show you it. Now this is just how the color filter I did. It's very vague, but you can see square, rectangular structures here, okay? Just here. And as with a lot of these things, depending on the type of material they're constructed from, they're either very bright or they're actually quite dark. Some of the structures are really dark, and it really depends on the angle of the light and when the picture was taken and stuff like that as well. So in reality, some of these structures may be much brighter than when we're seeing them, or much darker than we're seeing them, depending on the angle of the light at the time. Okay, so bear that in mind. So there was those two. There will be close-ups of these at the end with all the other images. Okay, so I thought I'd quickly show you that. And the one that I was really quite shocked by when I actually zoomed into it was this one down here on the left, far left, on the edge of this very large crater. There's this ship-looking object. It looks like some kind of shuttle, perhaps, or perhaps a mining machine that's kind of going up the edge of the crater. There have been photographs of what look like mining machines in some images going right back to the mid-60s. Check out some of my other moon videos for that. NASA's Apollo Secrets has some good images of that, but they're from quite a long way off. This is actually a sort of close-up, and this may be one of those machines. It does look about the right. It's kind of a shoe shape, almost like a shuttle, like this, what you would see on Star Trek almost. Just here, and you have this light material behind it, almost like a trail. So let's have a look at. Let's move that. I took a clip of it. Here's the raw clip. Now this has been rotated to flatten it out. Okay, and this is the raw image. Nothing done to this whatsoever apart from being enlarged. Okay, and you can quite clearly see it here. Okay, see that? And it's almost got like a cockpit kind of part to it here, and the nose here, and it comes down, and it all gets kind of random at the back, but you can see some light parts to it. So I enhance the contrast like I always do with these things. Here is the basic enhancement. That's just had the contrast increased, nothing else. Okay, I haven't touched it apart from that, and there we go. You can actually see it here. Okay, nose, bottom part, the back part here, and some random stuff behind it, and quite a shiny part to it here. And there seems to be something either behind it, there's something weird behind it, or there's something sticking up from it here. Okay, so I thought, right, this is interesting. This is getting interesting because you can see a clear, smooth shape here and a clear shape here. So it looks very similar, in fact, to one or two of the ships that I've found in Gale Crater on the edge of Mount Sharp in design, with a large cockpit kind of shape and a sort of curved front to it like this, like an aircraft or some kind of spaceship even. Okay, there are some very similar structures on the edge of Mount Sharp that I've shown in some of my videos going back about a year or two. Mount Sharp ships, I think that the series was called I did, and there's lots of them. So go and check those out if you don't believe me. They're very, very similar to this. Okay, right, so that's the basic enhancement. And you can see it without doing anything to it. You can see that shape quite clearly. And here is my enhancement, where I've gone in and I've brightened parts of it and darkened other parts just to make it stand out so that you can actually see what I'm seeing here. Because these things don't always come across so well in a video. I mean, what I see on the screen looks pretty bright and vivid, but it doesn't always come out that well when you publish it on YouTube. So you really have to increase the brightness of these areas and darken a few parts just to make it more obvious. Okay, so there we have it. I've drawn very carefully around it just to outline it for you. And there's this cockpit-like structure. There's the nose. There's some bright parts on top which are kind of reflective. There's some complex type of structure just behind it here, and something sticking up here, almost like some antennae or some kind of weird structure sticking up. And there's lots of smaller parts to it behind. Now, is this a crashed spaceship? And this is all kind of damaged behind it? Maybe. Is it a normal natural structure? I don't think so. It doesn't look like one to me. Is it a mining machine? This might explain all this kind of stuff behind it. And when you look at the image carefully, there's all this stuff, kind of, it looks almost like stuff kind of almost piled in front of it, as if it's slid along, or is actually driving along, or was driving along, and pushing up the material in front. It's almost like a bit of a mound in front of it here, see? Let's go back to the basic image before any real enhancements were done. And you can see like this material kind of here. See what I mean? I don't know if you can see that. but it's almost like it's driving into the material on the ground, maybe at high speed or maybe slowly, don't know. It may well have crashed, or it may be actually very slowly driving along, or was very slowly driving along, and collecting the material in the front of the craft here, and then pushing out the back like a mining machine. Who knows? I'm just kind of guessing here, okay? I mean, this is insane, absolutely insane. And it is very similar to some of the ship-shaped objects I've seen on Mars and Gale Crater at Mount Sharp. Very similar. Who knows? Maybe when there was a cataclysm on Mars, however long ago that was, they went to our moon first before coming to Earth. They may well have done. There may well even still be people on the moon that were there millions of years ago or tens of thousands of years ago. Absolutely no idea. So this could be millions of years old, this could be hundreds of years old, it could be thousands of years old. I really don't know. Absolutely no idea. Pure speculation, of course. So there we go. I will have some more clips of these objects in at the end, and I'll add some colour filters as well, just to make it look nicer and brighter. Let's brighten that up a bit for you now. Let's really crank up the brightness. I don't know if that will actually help because you're losing the contrast there, but you can see that shape, and it's definitely there because you can see it in the raw image. Let's go back to the raw image. There's definitely something there. You can see that shape. Okay, it's quite clear, and once your eyes adjust to these images, you can actually start to see stuff. It's difficult when, if you're a person just coming to a video and seeing stuff like this, because it does look very pasty and reflective and too light. But you do kind of get used to it after a while, and you do start to see things after sort of 10, 15 minutes. Your eyes kind of adjust to it and naturally see the contrast in the image, which you wouldn't normally see straight away, okay? So these things are all there, and Apollo 8 is turning out to be awesome. I've done quite a few videos on Apollo 8 now, Apollo 10, 11, 15, 17, all sorts. So do check out my videos that I've done recently especially. I'll show you one that I did recently here, the giant moon house. You may have already seen this if you're one of my subscribers. This is one I put out a couple of days ago. This is awesome. I mean, this is awesome. It looks crazy. I mean, it's like some kind of caravan. Someone actually pointed out it looks like a mobile home. This is actually much bigger than I actually initially thought. This crater rim here, from edge to edge here, across, is about 2 or 3 miles. About 2 miles at least. It could be 3 or 4, but I'd say 2 or 3. Okay, it's very, very large indeed. And what sort of culture could build such things so large? I mean, this is absolutely insane. So they must have been extremely advanced, whoever these people were, assuming they were people. Who knows? I mean, it's absolutely insane. So do check out that video and my other moon videos, and there will be a link up in the corner here in this video to my moon playlists with all my other moon structures in, okay? So check them out when you get a chance at the end of the video. You don't have to watch them all. Most of the videos are only a few minutes long, but some of them are around 10, 15 minutes. You can just flick through. But there's plenty more evidence of these structures, especially on the moon in these Apollo images, okay? There's lots and lots of them. Also, check out my ArtAlienTV app. There will be links to this in my video description below, as always. In fact, I'll show you that here. You just go down to here. It's about the 3rd or 4th one down. Here we go. The 4th link down. Get the free ArtAlienTV app here, and you just click on that and it will take you to this page, and you can choose HTML5, which you can use on your desktop or on your iPhone, and Android for Android, of course, okay? And it's had a lot more than 100 plus downloads, but for some reason these people don't seem to update the counter on here. It's had something like 300 or 400, I think, okay? So I'm going to have to email them again and say, could you please put the counter up, because it's had a lot more than that. Okay, and if you've already got the app on your phone, you may want to re-download it because I've updated it with some new stuff. We've got anomalyhunters.tv on here. This is new. I've got some extra websites on here. Okay, they've got links to those. ArtAlienTV. These are my websites. But there's also more. If you go in the research category, I've added some extra pages here at the bottom. We've got the 7 days. We've got multi-mission stuff here. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of links to all the top space sites here, and if you want images, you will get them all here. But trust me, this app links to over 20 million images of space. In fact, there's so many, I don't know how many there are. That's just an estimation. Okay, so do check it out, and of course the new link will take you to this, which is anomalyhunters.tv, where I've made this site for the UFO members, the main UFO members. They got Chris from Mars Anomalies, there's me here, you've got Rami Barilan, you've got Thomas from Mars Moon Space, we've got Will Farrar, we've got Martin Graney, we've got Neville Thompson, we've got Billy Carson from Forbidden Knowledge, and we've got James Chelsea, who I've just added, of course. There may well be one or two more people added soon, so do come back, because there will be updates to this stuff, and you can check out all our pages from these. These will link you to all our different Facebook groups and all our websites and everything else. So this is kind of like a central hub for all of us anomaly hunters, okay? And there we go. I will put the enhanced clips in at the end in a minute. So do check out that app. It's totally free and there's no adverts on it, okay? I'm not doing it to make profit. In fact, it actually costs me to make the thing. I'm doing it to help people out there search these images like I do and reveal the real moon, the real Mars, the real Pluto, the real anomalies that are going on and that have probably been up in space on these planetary bodies for many thousands or if not millions of years. Okay? These things are all there. In fact, I would go to say that the Apollo archive is probably one of the best resources we have for finding actual alien structures on another planetary body, okay? Because they're quite high resolution, they're pretty good quality, and you can zoom in and see pretty good detail, okay? And I promise you, if you go through the Apollo archive like I have done, you will find buildings. All you have to do is take the time. You might have to flip the image around, zoom in, darken up the contrast, really push that contrast, and you will see stuff, okay? I absolutely promise you. Okay, thanks for watching everybody. I will see you soon.